For today's project, we're making this cute little basket that's kind of resembles the tobacco baskets that are so popular in decor right now. So stay tuned and see how fun and easy this project is. All right, to make our basket, I have cut a bunch of strips. We're not going to need all of these. I just cut a bunch because I decided since I was in the mood to cut strips, I would just cut a bunch. These are 1/8 inch wide, and they are strips of black cardstock. This is a fairly heavy cardstock, like you would buy in the craft store to make greeting cards or to do scrapbooking with. It's not the lightweight paper that I sometimes use. I am going to build, since I want a square basket, I am building mine on this nail polish bottle. This is some of the Sally Hansen Miracle Gel nail polish, and I love the square shape. So I'm going to take one piece, I might as well take this one because we're going to cut it. So we're going to wrap this around our bottle. And we're going to cut it so it has not a huge overlap, but enough of an overlap that it's going to stay put when we're done. And I'm going to, while I'm at it, cut a second piece the same size, and hopefully I won't misplace that piece. It's been one of those days, so it's hard to say. I might. All right, I'm going to put that in a safe place. Now, I am going to take, I have some tacky glue on my work surface over here. I'm going to put glue on this end at the outside and this end at the inside. That way my ends will be attached. Now I am going to paint this my basket once it's finished, but I'm still using black paper. That way I don't have to do as thorough of a paint job. I can just do a quick once over with the paint to correct any, like this paper has a white core, so when you see the cut edge, there's a white edge. The glue is going to make shiny spots, that kind of stuff. We're going to need to correct for that. So I'm going to slip this off. That way it can glue, the glue can dry a little faster. And now I'm going to take, and these are 12-inch long strips to start with, and I'm going to cut them in, 4 of them in half. Oh, not that one. That one's got a bad end. I want these to be long enough that they won't argue too much with us when we're making the basket. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'm going to take a small piece of masking tape. And I know you can do this on a clipboard. There are tools for doing this. I just like to do this with tape on my work tile. For me, this is what works the best. You do what works best for you. And I'm going to line up 4 of these half strips so that they are fairly straight. Oops, I forgot to tear a piece of masking tape first. And this is what works for me. And that's what I show you on my videos, what works for me. And we are going to be untaping this and gluing it. It's easier to work with if they're straight, and we can get a better idea of what we're doing. And the there we go. Now, I'm going to take these 4. I guess this one's up first. I'll just do it. Oh, come on. Don't argue with me. Do a quick weave, just over and under, alternating. Once I've got them all woven in, I will make everything even. give myself a little extra space at that end. I'll use my dental pick to help me move things here. You want to leave gaps. That's one of the things I love about these baskets. One of my favorite YouTube decorating, crafting type channels was decorating one of these a couple of weeks ago, and I loved the basket. I loved how it looked, and I thought it was so versatile in all the decorating she was doing in her home. I thought this would be really cool in a dollhouse also, especially if you're trying to do something that's like my dollhouses are all current time when I'm making them, so that this will work perfectly for that. I'm going to take my bottle that I'm using as a form, and yes, that is fine. Now, while this is held down, the pieces that are sticking up, and I'm going to do these 3 sides that are loose first before I do this edge, and then there'll only be one that I need to do. And I'm just putting just a dab of glue on the end of my dental pick and using that. You could use a sewing pin also. I find that a toothpick is just a little too thick for this, and it tends to, did I put glue there? Yes, I did. It tends to move my paper pieces too much. Oopsie, come on. Did I not glue you? I thought I glued you. Yes, I talked to the project, but you guys know that. If you watch my videos, you know I talk to the projects. That's better. So I'm going, well, I'll go ahead and do these 2 because then I can show you. We just, and it doesn't matter if we get glue up here because that is going to not matter. It's going to be painted over. And since that is, I need my knife, or my little scissors. Give myself extra space so that I can cut this if I need to. If you can get it untaped without disturbing where your pieces are too much, go ahead and do that. That one was trying to fight with me, and I really did not want to dislodge all my paper. Okay, I'm going to wipe that glue off. I am going to turn the camera off. I'm going to give this glue about 10 minutes to set up, and then I'll come back and we will do our next step. All right, this glue is dry. So before I put that basket rim back on, I'm going to fold these down. I want to pre-bend these and try to get yours more central than I did. It is easier when you can put your face right over it, and I'm still almost off on the camera here too. There we go. All right, so I'm okay with where that's, it's not perfectly centered, but it will be fine. So I'm going to take my band again. Actually, I'm going to put the glue on it before I put it on there. A nice fresh bit of glue. At least I'm going to put the glue on part way around before I slide it on. That way I don't get quite as much glue on my bottle. And we are going to be covering this again, and we're going to paint it, so it's okay to get a glue mess on here. And you might need more glue once you get your strips on. Come on, go on, there you go. All right, and make sure it's nice and straight. And then pull those sides down. And I have found it is best to just hold this with your hand. I tried using a rubber band and I found that it disrupted my strips way too much. And it shouldn't take very long for this to become tacky enough that your strips will hold. Kind of straighten them out, play around with them. This is your time when you can move them. And however far up there, this is the height of my basket. It's a little taller than I would like, but it'll be fine. So I'm going to hold this down for 2 or 3 minutes. If the strips try to pop back up, I'll add tiny bits more glue. When this is set up enough, I can remove it from the bottle. I'll come back and we'll go to the next step. All right, my glue has dried enough that I can do this. Now, I think I said earlier, this is a little taller than I wanted it to be, but it's hard to get it placed where I wanted it on camera. But it's still cool. I love this style basket no matter what height it is. I'm cutting the extra off from the inside so that I can see that I am even with the rim. You don't want to have little bits sticking up if you can avoid it. Now, get these little bits out of our way. There's our little piece we cut earlier. And I'm going to put this back on here, simply because it's just easier to work when I don't have to balance that in my hands and work on it. I'm going to put the glue not all the way around this, but most of the way. I like to leave myself a little handle. Now, this part you need to pay attention so that you are lining up with the top edge of your basket. All right, so we're going to give this glue a few minutes to get dry. We'll come back and we will paint our basket and get it finished off. All right, my glue has dried enough that I'm going to give this just a quick coat of just a black paint. This is that apple barrel that Plaid sent me in one of the brushes they sent. So just, and because I used black cardstock, I don't have to have a perfect coat of paint. Any place that I miss, as long as I get those white areas, I do want to get all the white areas that I can. I don't want to leave those. But as long as I get those, any of the black areas I miss, it's just going to look like aging. And in fact, you could age this if you wanted to. I saw one online that was aged up so pretty, but I just don't have the time to do that. Usually I have these videos done in advance, and I am running so far behind the last 2 weeks that I'm not able to spend the time to do extra that I would like to do. I mean, I would love to age this on camera, but all right. We're going to let this dry, and when this paint has gotten all the way dry, I will come back and we will put a clear coat on it. All right, the black paint has dried, so I've got some matte Mod Podge out here, And we are going to, I'm going to paint the outside. And the inside both at the same time, I guess. You don't need a really thick coat. Now, I would not skip this, especially if there's any chance you might like put this up against the wall in your dollhouse. Sometimes paint can get rubbed off, especially if you are using anything to stick it to the wall with. You can sometimes leave some of that black paint behind. So I am going to get this. I'm going to let that dry. Once that Mod Podge is dry, we'll come back and take a look at our finished basket. All right, the Mod Podge is dry, and although my basket is a little deep, I should have made it a little more shallow. I love how these came out. I know the real ones look like most of them have a diagonal piece of weaving going each way, and some multiple ones. That was, I tried it on this scale and it was just a little too fiddly, it was too much. It ruined the look of the open weave. So if you're doing a Barbie size, I think that would be great. You could do a cross hatch pieces first and then put the woven ones in. But I love this. It's going to look good on the wall of the dollhouse or sitting on a table as a centerpiece. I can't wait to figure out some different ways to dress this up in the dollhouse. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Be sure and check the blog post. I'm going to make another one of these and take photos of each step as I go so that you can have a real step-by-step guide. So check the blog post. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the like button, leave me some comments. What would you like to see in future videos? If you enjoy my content and haven't subscribed, I encourage you hit that subscription button and the notification bell so you know when I put up a new video, and I will talk to you later. Bye.